Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is the 3G's Fitness Podcast, 3 generations of fitness. My name is Coach Cisco.
Coach Michael.
Coach Kyle.
And today we have a very special guest that I'm very highly excited for. He's a former mixed martial arts world champion, and he is also the founder of Athletes Journeys Home, Ian McCall.
Yeah.
All right, Ian.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
How you doing, Ian? Everything's good?
Life is beautiful.
Life is
business. I have literally everything I've ever wanted from a new business perspective in my new career. And I am really excited to do this. We have this next year planned out. Have 5 retreats with the nonprofit. Research is growing. We're doing Ibogaine retreats. We're doing 1 Ibogaine retreat in December, which I'm leading. Then we're doing 2 next year at Beyond in Cancun, which is I'm the head coach for the athletes.
okay.
We're building out an athlete program, so there's a lot to be done still there. Then we have 2 ayahuasca retreats, one at La Huayra, ayahuasca in Colombia, Medellin, where we're going to take down 20 plus athletes, former UFC fighters, mainly from the class action lawsuit that we're just getting paid out with right now.
Ooh, okay.
There's over 1,000 of us.
I know there's
getting paid out, which is nice. So thank you. A couple $100,000 is nice for everybody.
There you go.
And then we have at least 1 DMTX retreat, which is in St. Vincent at a place called Elusis Mind, which DMTX is intravenous extended state DMT. And basically they plug you into the matrix for an hour plus, which is terrifying.
Wow.
I don't know if
That's
I
crazy.
do it, but I have some special forces guys and high level fighters and stuff that are interested. So we'll go. I don't do medicine at every retreat. I don't need to do that much medicine. I don't want to, and also, I'm more of a facilitator, a coach through the process.
Mm-hmm.
So like when I go to ayahuasca, I'll take a very small dose to be in the space with them, but I don't need to go heal from a bunch of stuff. I'm good. But what else? Oh, then we're going to be doing some mushrooms with hopefully we study mushrooms in Oregon.
Yeah.
And at Daniel Carcillo's place. Daniel Carcillo is a 2-time Stanley Cup winner. Mm-hmm. And he has the only TBI focused mushroom facility in the U.S.
Really?
And that's, so we... With our scientific team at Onaya Science, we study over 1 million markers in the human genome. We do fecal testing, so gut biome. We do blood and saliva, neuroimaging before, during, and after. And then Merrick Health, which is a genetic testing company. The CEO, Mike Stratton, is on our board and is a very good business mentor and friend of mine. And he's gotten all of our athletes get public data on their own from Merrick before and after the retreats. Okay. Onaya comes in and tests them again and does their own. We have very little more advanced, I think, than most genetic testing companies can even really do, or they don't need to do it right now. Our people are just really exhaustive with it, and that data goes to our multi-site, multi-medicine study through the University of Lima, Peru. So we have the only license ever granted like that, and we're able to study medicine all over the world. It's more about our testing protocol than our actual whatever medicine is being done. Then we'll obviously plug in like this is Ibogaine, this is mushrooms, this is LSD or whatever, but for me, this is my Noah's Ark. This is how I save humanity and try and
And that's what I wanted to kind of piggyback off, man, because like I said, I'm a hardcore MMA UFC fan. That stash is memorable.
Thank you.
So I know you from, taking fights in the cage and being a fighter. And like I said, I'm a fan. I was excited when we got you because I couldn't believe that it was you. When I heard who it was, I was like, hey, it is. And then when I saw, because they described you as exactly what you just said right now. Yeah. How the hell does a UFC fighter go from beating asses in the 2010s to now doing what you're doing right now?
Well, I left the spotlight. So I became world champion in a parking lot of an Indian casino in Central California. Mm-hmm. I became the best in the world there. The UFC was like, oh shit, I just got out of rehab, became best in the world. Rehab for the second time. And, I actually signed to fight the best guy in the world, which was Formiga. After I was sober for 18 months, I screwed up and I overdosed, did some drugs. and I signed the best to fight the best guy in the world from a hospital bed. And I was like, fuck it, let's run it. Like, I feel fine. Even though I was dead for basically, I was on the operating table for 24 hours. I had aspirated. I was a crazy person.
Okay.
And I got into the UFC, and of course I had a bad fight with Demetrius, that first one, or a good fight for me, bad judging decision, and that that threw me off and put me back in addiction again.
And that's what I wanted to ask, because they just built a brand new division for you guys. And for specifically, I would say for you.
They said it was for me.
Yeah, it was a brand new division, 125 pounds, and they made 4 guys fight for a tournament. And he was in the first round, and the scoring judge messed up.
Yeah.
And I think they originally rewarded him the fight, but it was really meant to be a draw.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so that's... And it was meant to be a draw.
And go to a 4th round, and this whole... I had him dead to rights at that point, but...
So did that mess with your head and like kind of...
Yeah, well, I can't catch a break. Woe is me. Some self-deprecating nonsense. And I had a really bad marriage at the time. Really bad, filled with addiction and all kinds of really gnarly shit that I don't need to get into because we're friends.
Mm-hmm.
We raise our daughter, separately but together, and everything's good. But at that time, we were so poisonous, and I never got my feet back underneath me at that point. By the time I fought Demetrius 3 months later, I was back on OxyContin. I was, I cut like almost 20 pounds in the last 20 hours. I think it was 18.8 pounds.
Jeez.
Yeah. I was a mess.
Yeah.
I was a mess. And I had everything at my fingertips. Like, I was staying not at the hotel, but at like a $12 million mansion on the water. My friend's dad, who owned it, was like, whatever you do, just don't take the boat out. It's like, cool, thanks. I was being flown everywhere, and everything. When I showed up places, people were crying. Men and women were crying because I was there. It was really weird. And, I would obviously hug them and talk to them and look at them in the eyes and sign whatever they wanted. Chuck Liddell is a mentor of mine. Mm-hmm. And he always told me how to be with fans. You look everybody in the eye, you shake their hand, you love them, you give them a shirt off their back if they want it. And remember one thing on top of it all. No matter how famous you become, you're not that cool. I was like, cool, man, thank you. Reality check.
Humbling.
And he's the coolest. He walks into a room and Leonardo DiCaprio or one billionaire, and they all see him and they freak out. Like everybody wants to be friends with him.
Yeah.
And, I just went to his wedding. It was a really good time to see all my old friends. But, by the time, fast forward to the end of my career, I leave. The UFC tried to help me so much. I had so many issues with my brain. I also had a major TBI in high school. I put myself in the hospital for a few days snowboarding. So I probably should have never fought, realistically. Yeah. And I had so much brain damage. They sent me to all these different therapies, and I lost my shit. I left the UFC for greener pastures because they didn't want to offer me that much money. And I knew my addictions had the best of me. I could do whatever I wanted in Japan. It was just like this weird headspace I was in. So I threw the whole UFC relationship away, fired my agent, again, was acting out because had so much brain damage. I was very suicidal. I was doing fentanyl at that point. And heroin, fentanyl was too strong. So when I realized that wasn't working, I was like, I gotta get off this shit. But I had a very broad understanding of science for human performance at that point. All the modalities people are using to recover and to perform better, I'm doing those, I mean to brag, but I was doing them like over a decade ago. It's just because I like science. And I told some people, I didn't keep it a secret, but I wasn't trying to tell the world. As an athlete, you need to cheat without cheating. If you're not walking that line, then you're doing yourself a disservice. Because people in other countries, look at Russia.
Russia's always ahead, I feel.
A state-sponsored doping program. Those Russians that are infighting in the UFC, whether they wanted to or not, have been on steroids their whole lives. Their whole fucking lives.
Yeah. That's all they've done.
Yeah.
And all athletes in Russia.
And that's the truth. Well, they're bigger and stronger than us. Well, yeah, I can explain that. But they also work real hard.
Yeah.
And they're devout. All they do is pray and fight. So I appreciate, even though we don't get along like at all, long story, but they hate me. I respect the shit out of them, and I'm also a good Catholic, so I don't like them very much either. But whatever, that's besides the point. I as I was free falling into the gutter, my daughter got very sick with juvenile rheumatoid arthritis. So I expanded my understanding of the human inflammatory system and how food affects the body more and more, and supplements and high dose cannabis or whatever it was. We healed her. She's now a super athlete playing volleyball at 14 years old. Club ball, and being scouted by my old agent and stuff. Really proud of her.
That's dope.
Yeah, well, kids can make millions of dollars in college now. And I'm like,
those NILs are ridiculous.
All of the things, famous parents, famous grandparents, famous great grandparents. You're beautiful. You're really good. You get decent grades when you try. Like we could sell the shit out of you to any college. And that's putting my business cap on. But it's her money. It would be her. Whatever. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm good at there. So I'm like, let me help you out here. But I eventually, when I retired, this is a long story short, sorry, I turned the understanding of her healing on myself, and I added in a few different things. I added in psychedelics. I was already taking them since I was 12, but this was, way too young.
Yeah.
I don't recommend that.
Don't recommend that, ladies and gentlemen.
I was smoking weed at 8. I was a bad kid. I don't know why, but I started to use psychedelics therapeutically. My friends who I grew up in the cannabis industry were like, hey man, try this. And this was, over 8 years ago. My buddy already had bottled microdoses under a fake label that said like vitamin D supplement, my friends have been at the forefront of this for a long time. That's why I'm such a well-known person in the illicit psychedelic space, because that's where I cut my teeth learning about the products.
Yeah.
I've backed away because I'm the leader of a large nonprofit, and I work with senators and governors and things like that. But I was doing a lot of consulting, like people do in the cannabis space. I just understand which lab is best and how to productize things and whatnot. But like I said, that part of my life is over. I was able to take this supplement. I was able to look into the research. And my brain finally opened up, where I was like, oh, I can study something for once in my life. I was told by a doctor I'm on the spectrum. I don't know how far down. But I always had a hard time dealing with school. And, but for the first time in my life, I took psychedelics, and I was able to study immense amounts of information without crashing out over it.
Really?
Before I was taught by example. By my chef that I traveled with, or the scientist friends or doctors would explain things to me, and I would listen. Now I could read and listen and learn and do all these things, and I started applying the science on myself. I started applying the science, first on myself for sure. I ended up going with some other people, eventually some friends. I contacted the UFC in 2019, I think it was, and sorry, I'm hot, and I was like, hey, Jeff Nowitzki, do you know that you don't test for psilocybin mushrooms or LSD? And he was like, wait, what? I didn't, should we? And I said, no. This is why. Let me explain. Sent him a bunch of information, and he was like, wow, this is incredible. It's gonna protect from further damage, heal old damage, and lead to a performative benefit. And these guys and girls are not going to absorb a bunch of PTSD from climbing into a cage in their underwear and fighting someone for blood money on replay. You give them to see PTSD the whole time you're in there. Yeah. Maybe if you get beat up, you have PTSD. If you beat someone up, put them in the hospital,
you get PTSD.
You have something called TITS. It's trauma-induced trauma syndrome, or PTSD. It's the same thing. Whatever. It's just a more fun acronym. But I said this to them, and they were like, whoa, no one's ever explained it like that. I said, I know, and I'm not ever trying to stop fighting, but let's do a study on this. And because I was already, before that, they asked me to build them a post-fight concussion serum, and that fell through. It was all CBD based, but I also set up a CBD study that never really got into works. Well, they were like, so they trusted me at least. And he goes, okay, well, if we're going to do a study with mushrooms, I need a major university and I need the FDA. Mm-hmm. And through Del Jolly at Unlimited Sciences, he set me up with Johns Hopkins and the FDA. And I said, Jeff, I know that. I got that I got the blessing from them, the call before I called you. She says, okay, well, come to Vegas and explain this to me. So at the time I was dating a scientist from UCLA and a professor. So she helped me. I went out there and I put her in front of him because then you're not going to fucking listen to me all that much.
Yeah.
So I had a legitimate person who talks on TV for science. Listen to her. And it worked. They wanted to be part of the study, but UFC is very hard to deal with, and so is Johns Hopkins, and it couldn't come to terms. I was kept out of those meetings. And I was told them, like, look, I made this happen. I should be in these meetings to facilitate. I know how to talk to them.
You know how to communicate.
I know how to do
the mediator.
Exactly. Well, they said no. I said, cool. At least I was the first person to ever sit in front of a major sporting organization and talk about psychedelics because I understood the potential, the theoretical potential at that point.
Yeah.
Then I proved it on HBO. I was on Real Sports with Brian Gumbel. And I talked to David Scott after our ceremony, but I helped Dean Lister heal his alcohol addiction and Xanax addiction and other TBI issues. And I sent that article or that video to Dana. And Dana White was like, he was one of the first 3 people to contact me and congratulate me about it. He's like, oh, this is incredible. He had Jeff reach out again. And if people don't know, Jeff Nowitzki is the athlete care coordinator at all the UFC. He makes sure they're taken care of. And he's sat by my bedside at multiple hospitals around the world.
Oh wow.
Dear friend of mine. So they got back together with Johns Hopkins. It still fell through because it just wasn't aligned. So about 2022, I think I brought University of Miami to the table. They came to me, Dr. Hoffer and Megan Blaya, scientists over there. They said, hey, we want to give this a shot. We'll custom tailor a TBI study. I was like, perfect. So I set up a meeting with Jeff and them when they were in Miami for the fights. Jeff called me and said, this is the greatest thing you've ever done, Ian. This is incredible. And then they lost funding. ECP Pharma or whoever it was, it didn't work. So I was like, okay, well, I'm not quitting. But I need to focus on something else. Mushrooms grow out of cow shit in every field in America. Like I don't need to study this. Maybe this is God telling me I need to do this. I went to MAPS a couple of years ago, which is the big Multidisciplinary Association for Psychedelic Studies conference. And I went to the Heroic Hearts booth, the people that I modeled my nonprofit after. And I got a tap on the shoulder and I turned around and the 3 head scientists at Onaya Science, who I'd already talked to a little bit, were there in person, like, hey, we really want to study your athletes. And at that point, I didn't really have many athletes. I have friends, but like now I've got potentially a couple thousand people in my pipeline. And not everyone said they want to do it, but I have access to these people. UK Rugby, UFC lawsuit. These are 2 huge lawsuits they're paying out people, and they both have over 1,000 people in the lawsuits.
Okay.
In the UK, over 177 former athletes in the UK Rugby lawsuit have been diagnosed with early onset dementia.
And that's just from constant head trauma.
And rugby is older than UFC.
Yeah.
But I personally know multiple fighters who have early onset dementia. One specifically, I'm not going to obviously say who it is, but I'm taking him to Beyond Ibogaine in Mexico with me on December 6th. And we will, this is someone I've known since I was 14. And to be on a call with him yesterday and have him go through tremors. He had to get off the call because he's going through tremors. This is our coaching call, a little cohort. We get together and talk about our feelings and all that great stuff. I've lost too many friends, and to see my friend dying in front of us is really gnarly. This whole thing lines up. I meet the Onaya team. They want to study ayahuasca. Nobody wants to study ayahuasca. No one wants to pay to study ayahuasca. I haven't found it yet. Most people look at it as witchcraft.
What is ayahuasca?
Ayahuasca is a vine and a plant that they put together, a brew they make in the Amazon, and you drink it and you have these visions. But it's done by a shaman. Now, I'm part Native American, over 10%. I have been on the reservations and done ceremonies plenty of times here in California. I sit in Peru or Colombia, whatever it is, in Mexico, and I'm part indigenous. I like it. but I'm also a Catholic, and I work with very high-level Catholics. My mentor ran SEAL Team 6 for 20 years, and we have a ministry that's blessed by the Vatican. The Vatican is also studying psychedelics. So I see both sides of the spectrum. And I see people why they look at that and go, I don't want to go to the jungle ever. I don't want to sit with a witch. I don't want to do these things. So after 2.5 years of trying to raise money for ayahuasca, I'm exhausted. And I put it on the back burner because now I can take people to beyond. And there's no profit model off of ayahuasca. I never wanted to make money off it. It's from the jungle. It's not something that, it doesn't feel right. But Ibogaine or mushrooms, now that I have a clinic in Oregon and I have a clinic in Mexico, I can study these things under doctor supervision. People are hooked up to EKG machines, and we have fMRI, and I have all the testing I need to get done. Because sure, I would love to be in the jungle all the time. I love the jungle. I'll be there in January. I'm obsessed with it. You see why these ancient people traveling around, these people that were adventurers, they were so drawn to it. It is wild. I've had so many good memories there. But now
I want to go to the jungle.
Come on a retreat.
Do ayahuasca?
Yeah,
I'm down.
Experience ego death?
Dude.
Oh yeah, ego dissolution is one of the greatest things you'll ever feel.
Yeah,
And people complain about the purging. I don't want to throw up or shit myself. I'm like, if you're healthy, you're not going to shit yourself. More than likely. But the purge is, and people always laugh when I say this, but it's like almost, it's just as good as an orgasm. Like you're throwing up, like I've seen a black demon come out of me before. Like you need to get these traumas out. People have thrown up their cancer. They've written books about throwing up cancer.
It's insane.
So the release that happens, like it's I don't want to say otherworldly. It's just different than something that's so so hindered to just our body and like a fucking orgasm. I don't want to get gross, but like
it's like needed.
It's different. It's a different spiritual sort of thing. And now I have all the athletes. I have all the science. I have the centers. I have the options for people because some people really want to go to ayahuasca. I have over 25 athletes that are going to come down with me in January, and it's going to be incredible because I get to tell the story of all the people. Well, I can tell a story. No, Sam Littman, our Emmy-nominated producer, is going to tell the story. I'm trying to set up a bunch of different documentaries. I don't want one main big documentary. Sam will probably do that, but like I don't have time for that. Nor do I want to be in front of a camera. I do this because I'm good at it and because I'm the founder. I have to keep doing this for a while. But I've got fighters like Mark Irwin he's a former bare knuckle boxing champion that I coach, that he gets on stage. He's better than I am. He is very good at what he does. And now he understands the science. I'm still trying to heal his brain because as my best friend, like my little brother, I was never able to fight on psychedelics. I was on Oxycontin sometimes. But Mark won his world title on 7.5 grams of mushrooms.
What?
Jesus.
Yeah, I was on 5 in his corner.
That was insane.
Highly irresponsible.
Yeah, like how? Like
Practice.
Yeah.
But
7 grams is wild.
good science is irresponsible science. And I might have a bunch of scientists and doctors and PhDs working for me or with me, whatever it is. I guess I'm in charge. I just should take credit for it, but I don't know. I feel weird. But good science is irresponsible science. I'm not a researcher. I'm a researcher. I'm just a guy. I can do whatever I want. I'm not beholden to a university or academia or my tenure or like whatever. I'm just a dude that likes to have fun, and I thought this worked, and now I have proof. So I'm going to keep doing whatever I want on a personal level, With Mark, and I also have a lot of other athletes that take products that I endorse. Two brands specifically. Nootropics is the best mushroom brand out there. One of my best friends owns it, and they're just really, they make the best products for mushrooms. If you want other synthetic products, Entheo makes like LSD and MDMA and all those sort of things, and they have synthetic mushrooms as well. And these products, I see people who are fighting in the UFC who are winning and doing really well on it. But back to Mark, he had three of the most traumatic fights I've ever seen in bare knuckle. Mm-hmm. When he had won his first fight with BKFC, and then he came to me and goes, "Hey, I want you to coach me." Well, first he said, "Hey, I'm going to go fight bare knuckle," and I said, "Ew, why would you do that to yourself? Those are savages.
That is a very extreme organization.
Yeah.
Because it's literally all stand up, all bare knuckle. Literally, just tape their wrist.
Hold on to somebody's
Yes,
head.
they're just tape their wrist.
damn.
So it's literally it's dirty boxing. You know, it's literally you just tape up your wrist, and it's all. If you like seeing knockouts, if you like seeing blood. Bare knuckle is what you should watch. I watch it from time to time. I mean, Eddie Alvarez, I saw his first one and I was like, oh, and then he gets beaten up. Of all people, who's the one that's killing it? Mike Perry? I think Mike Perry's killing it. Like,
it's because strike hard, strike first, strike fast.
Yeah.
Like he can take a punch really, really gnarly, and he gets in there. I saw him. I was front row, basically hanging on the ring when I saw him fight Thiago Alves in downtown LA.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, that guy hitting people. And he's on so much juice. He's sitting there, and after he's screaming into the mic, he's like, what does he say? He says, "If you want your money, you want this heat, come and get it, because I got all the money and all the heat." Ah! And you're just like, oh my God, dude, he is so fucking scary.
Yeah, Mike Perry is hilarious too.
Yeah,
though.
and amazing person.
Yeah, I would like to have a drink with him one day.
Yeah. So I see Mark, the second fight of his, I corner him. We're in Biloxi, Mississippi, very interesting place, and he flatlines this kid.
Okay.
And, it was hilarious. Like, he just bludgeoned this poor guy. And the guy would get hit, and he'd plop down and pop back up, like he just respawned. That put Mark in line for a title fight. Mm-hmm. And then we went out to South Carolina. Mark had a real tough fight with a guy that ran the whole time, but closed Mark's eye. Still you got a concussion for sure.
Oh wow!
Mark's eye bled for 3 days straight. Like, it was gnarly, but he still won, and it was fun. I guess it was exhausting. Like being on a bunch of mushrooms. He was on 5 grams then, or no, he was on 7.5 grams then. Then we get a call to fight Julio Tenori, who is, the young prodigy. And Mark has a fight with him that is, if you want to watch violence, Google Mark the Shark Irwin, Julio Tenori 1.
Okay.
Mark had the largest hematoma. Stephen A. Smith was talking about him on his show, because he had a hematoma that was like literally this big.
Ooh.
He had a broken jaw.
Jeez.
His jaw broke up here, I think it was. Then he had a broken nose. So jaw surgery, nose surgery, his ear was falling off. And he also had rhabdo. So like he was dying. You don't get rhabdo just for fun. Like, you get rhabdo because you're dying. And it was a wild fight. And after, even like in between the third and fourth round, he comes to the rope, and it's a trigon. So it's basically, it's a box cut in half. And he comes to the corner, and we have one of the cold presses on this side of his head, one here, and I'm holding one here like this. And he's looking at me, and no one's home.
No one. Oh.
And Bobby, the other coach, is talking to him, and I just look at him, and he just goes, I go, "Are you ready?" I go, "Okay." I go, "You gotta go fucking kill this guy right now." I knew it wasn't gonna him. He was like, "This doesn't look good," but he's still got some motor function left. I go, "You need to get out there and kill him, because this kid is not going down without a fight." And Mark crushed him. The kid falls down, bang, hits canvas. We thought he was dead. And like at the count of 8, he respawned, popped back up, boing. I was just like, oh shit. And Mark looks at me, and he's like, what the fuck? And I told Mark, all right, well, finish him off. And Mark couldn't. The amount of damage they both took, Julio didn't look like he had a mark on him. Not a mark on him. He was kind of fucked up, but like didn't look like Mark.
Yeah.
And the judges saw that as the thing to win it, was the look. But damage. When it came to damage, well, like the look of the damage.
Yeah.
But when it came to like numbers thrown, Mark had him almost by like double. Mark had thrown so many more punches, landed more punches, dropped him, done all this stuff that we're like, okay, this should be a win. So it was a very pro-Mexican crowd. Obviously, Mark Irwin's white. I'm not blaming it on that, but that has a big effect on crowds. You know, is
the audience
who you are,
yeah,
where you like, you know. So it was. He should have won that fight. I watched it more than once, obviously. Regardless, he gets carted away in an ambulance. You know, that was hard to see, especially because I'm on that much mushrooms. I had a good cry, of course, in the back.
But you were on it too?
Oh yeah, a bunch, way too much. And you know, we have to.
You got it's a team. I get it. Yeah.
You gotta be in that same realm.
He's the monkey I'm shooting into space. I feel right there. And you know, he spends 2 days in the hospital. I spent most of the night with him at the hospital. It sucked. I don't like hospitals, but he comes out. He's, you know, his jaw's wired shut. He's at home for a couple months, just losing his title, really depressed. Did everything I could. Well, they call him too soon. They ask him to fight like 9 months later to get his title back. And of course he takes it. And I told him, like, I don't like this. I'll coach you. I'll stay by your side, but I'm not gonna hide the fact that I hate this idea.
Right.
And he went out and got knocked out pretty quickly, or second round. But it was he was, you know, he
shouldn't have been out there.
No, shouldn't have been out there. So, but in the process of that fight, he now found another life, which is working for me, and he was able to raise $50,000 for the nonprofit, and I'm terrible at raising money, terrible. So for Mark to raise $50,000, that set us on course to then do our first actual study, which was psilocybin mushrooms in Oregon at Daniel's spot called Experience Onward. And we brought out 8 athletes, you know, Mac Danzig from the UFC, a fighter from the UK, Alex Kopach, Olympic gold medalist in bobsledding, Mark Irwin, Giorgio Gomez, Mark's a bare knuckle champ, Giorgio's a surfing champion. You know, we've got a couple others were there, but you know, not professional athletes, just people that came that had concussions that I feel like I needed to work on. And we got great results. We got really good results out of this study, and now we're actually published as a scientific researcher.
Really?
So there's no longer any games. This is real.
Congrats.
That's nice.
So it's exciting. Now we have legitimacy. We have all the things lined up. You know, my taxes are paid. I have BrightBridge helping me build this thing on the inside because I'm not good at those sort of things. I can do all the frilly stuff and have all the cool kids show up and whatever. But like, the company has to run. So now I have people on the inside that are doing stuff for me. I told you, all those scientists, about 25 of them. I'll go on to Zoom meetings and just listen. I introduce myself, what the topic is, or usually I don't even have to do that. Maybe I'll chime in here and there, but like my team of scientists is incredible from all over the world. The best universities all over the place. Stanford, Imperial, Melbourne, Lima, Riverside, like there's so many, like it's just very multifaceted. And you know, we have big sponsors like Merrick. We have, you know, the places we go, the people that we can connect with, the media. I just did a Rolling Stones article. I mean, I've been in Forbes twice and done all the different publications.
Well, that's dope, dude, because it's like literally it's one of those where I think you're just educating us like crazy right now too. And not just that, it's like I know when we were talking about you before and into the weeks leading up to having you here today, we were talking about like what's microdosing or anything like that. You know, I know Mike had a few questions like, well, like how does that work or anything like that. And like I said, my only, you know, thought about it with athletes is, like I said, Aaron Rodgers was, you know, public about it on how it helps him out with his anxiety and just like to calm his nerves leading into the offseason, going into the season. I never thought about it being as something used to help out athletes that suffer from brain trauma. And to me, it's one of those where I like that's just everything is all crazy because I don't know if you guys have done psychedelics or anything like that. Like,
I've never, you know, this goes back 30, 40 years. You know, if you think about it, you know, back in the Woodstock era,
yeah,
where, you know, then it was LSD.
Yeah.
but then they went into the mushroom thing. So this has been around for a long time, and it's
been around for thousands of years.
It was actually illegal at one point back then, and now everybody's talking about it. It's like it's like almost like a legalized.
Well, it's still illegal. It's yeah, still very
It's legal
illegal.
in Oregon.
Yeah.
In Oregon, I think.
No. It's not legal anywhere.
No, it's not. I thought Oregon passed a law like
No, it's decriminalized.
decriminalized.
Well, decriminalized it basically, but in other words, in other words,
You won't get in trouble.
you can't. It's almost like marijuana in a sense. When it was illegal, now it's decriminalized. So mushrooms they've come a long ways, and to me, you hallucinate, and you might be able to explain this to me. That everybody says it opens up your mind and so if an MMA fighter does microdosing on that, it opens up his mind. Are you saying in the sense that it kind of prepares him to go into the cage? Because he's going in there to demolish. He has no other mindset except to go in there and demolish this guy.
Yeah.
So he has to have that mindset to be able to go in there.
That mindset is burnt into you, is beaten into you, or maybe you naturally have it, but that's already there. Now there's a process called epigenetic neurogenesis, which is the production of chemicals in the brain like brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF, GDNF, glutamate, which is like a precursor to NAD, which is mitochondrial function. You have both hemispheres of your brain, the four parts, and they're speaking individually usually. Mm-hmm. Now everything is synced up. New neural pathways are being made, the new connections, you have all these positive things being produced in the body and the brain because you have serotonin receptors through your whole skin. And so your body thinks it's getting a flood of serotonin, but it's getting a flood of psilocin, which is the active ingredient. Well, the active ingredient is psilocybin. It converts to psilocin and then floods your body. Mm-hmm. And with those connections, you're able to absorb information. You're able to have faster processing, linguistic skills, all the cognitive function, but also kinetic efficiency. So your body is able to connect a lot faster with your nervous system. The whole thing just works a lot better. It's not like a testosterone where you're going to be like, oh, I'm stronger.
Yeah.
You're more efficient. So if your body's trained well, then your reaction time's faster. Your firing off of things is faster. Everything slows down in the fight where you think like, oh, I can see the muscle twitch here because I know this punch is coming. And okay. I've been in the flow state naturally before. And I've also been in the flow state on psychedelics. And it is, it's very easy to tap into with one microdose. And microdose is supposed to be sub-perceptual. You're not supposed to feel it. So that's the big thing that people need to realize is you're not supposed to feel a microdose. But so the first time I was in Forbes and on the cover of LA Weekly, which is like 16 million copies with my face on it. Kind of weird. It said fight shaman. The one word I said don't use. Fight shaman. Liberal media, how dare you.
But we're going to put fight shaman on the title.
So we made, at a company I was consulting for called Argos, we made a soccer mom dose. And it turned out all those soccer moms that liked it were like, hey, this is great, but I have to take like 3 to 5 of them to feel it. Like when you're not supposed to feel it, well, I want to feel it. And everybody wants to feel it. Otherwise, they don't think it's working.
Right.
Mm.
So, I would recommend you can buy any sort of gummy from wherever. Don't go to the smoke shops. You can go to other places. Smoke shops, most of that stuff's research molecules. It's not actual mushrooms. Okay. Take a gummy and cut it in half. And you'll see that how benign it is, how innocuous it is. It's not. Mm-hmm. It's nothing to be scared of. Mm-hmm. And your shoulders are going to drop. Your smile goes up. Your brain's functioning better. Anxiety's down. Happiness is up.
Better
your productivity is through the roof. Whether that's mushrooms or LSD, like they've all worked very well. You just have to figure out which one works best for you. But again, very small dose. Like very, very, very small dose.
Which is how many grams roughly?
Well, not grams. No, gram would be, could you have a party on a gram?
Yeah.
You could. I would say 100 to 250 milligrams.
Okay.
250, you're going to feel.
Okay.
You're going to get a buzz. But it's nothing crazy. Nothing's warping. You know, maybe the first time you're like feel a little funky and you're like look at your computer screen and you're like, okay, just breathe. Remember your breath. Sorry, I got a plugged up nose. But that's what you should do is always breathe through everything. And then and you're also controlling your breath a lot better. You learn to control this, your heart and your breath much easier with psychedelics. You know, something you get worked up over something, take a breath and cycle through, and you'll be fine. So people take psychedelics for all your basic needs, for the depression and the anxiety. One of the biggest movements in the movement is moms on mushrooms. It's huge. And they're hilarious. They're really, really good people. And they're on all the talk shows and they're showing how moms don't need to take pharmaceuticals anymore, especially for things like postpartum depression or whatever. They take mushrooms. And they, it leads you to drink less. It leads you to smoke less. It leads you to be more affectionate with people. You have like a sixth sense where you can read people's energies instead of just being, so mindless about your day, just getting stuff done. You're like, you can see someone and go, oh, dude, what's wrong? And then your partner or your kid is like, what? You've never asked that before. Like, what the fuck? So they lead you to be better humans. It does. Obviously, there's a slippery slope that people always think, what if I get addicted? They lead you to not be addicted.
That's what I was about to say. That psychedelics they're not really addictive, are they?
No. There's a safeguard in the body where your receptors get full, basically, and you can't feel it anymore. At like day 3, you're like, I don't really feel much.
Yeah.
I tell people to microdose for 5 days straight because we don't need to feel it all the time. This is for brain damage. You have brain damage. You need psilocybin in your brain, in your body for 5 days straight, 2 days off.
You just cleared something up. So by the 3rd day, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Because I've gone to EDC. EDC's 3 days.
By the end, it doesn't work.
There's a reason by the 3rd day I ain't feeling anything, and I'm just like, that's really, I did not know that.
Yeah.
You just blew my mind right now.
Basically, you're here. What it do? It'll bring you here, down
or up. I mean, whatever, however you like to correlate it. It brings you to homeostasis. It brings you to just be like, okay, like what do I have to do today? And you get something done, and you're like, oh, I got it done. Hell yeah! What's next? Not like what else do I have to do? You're like excited about life. It gives you this childlike exuberance.
Yeah.
That makes you just love life better. When I first retired, I got a job being a personal trainer at Lifetime in Laguna Niguel. And I'd wake up in the morning, I'd splash water on my face and have to look in the mirror and laugh. Just because I wanted to kill myself. And I was like, okay. And then I'd go in the kitchen and I'd shoot up my peptides. I've been selling and working with peptides for a long time now, about 8 years. And I have a concierge business I do. And I'd shoot my peptides up, take my microdose, have a little snack or whatever I was making for the morning, and then and I'd be fucking miserable. By the time everything kicked in and I walked out of my door, got in my car, and went down like this street, living in San Clemente, you could see the ocean, all these trees. For the first time, and I don't know how long, I was like, oh, wow, look how beautiful the world is. Like, I don't want to kill myself. No way. Great. I'm going to go to work at a job that I'm my first real interaction at a public place. I never had a real job. So I'd sit behind my desk and just look at people and just be like, wow, this is human interaction. Okay. Because I was always in the fight gym.
Yeah.
When I went somewhere, it was because I was famous and I get a bunch of free shit and people wanted to party or whatever. Otherwise, I stayed by myself. You know what I mean? This was like, I had to like learn to be human. My mom said, fantasy's over, stupid. Get a job. Let's be a real normal human. And I did that for a year and realized I'm not normal, and I now have built a different life for myself.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, took a while. It was a lot of suffering.
Bro, you've been through a lot. You've seen a lot. You've experienced a lot. But it's like, I feel like all of that made you come to the realization of who you are today.
Yeah.
And what you're doing today. Because like I said, man, going into like, the main question was, how the hell does a UFC fighter come from this to where you're at right now? And what I love what I'm hearing is like, what you're doing for the future of the sport you left behind is incredible. Like I'm hearing you out and things like that. Like I'm at that point where the whole time you're like talking about this, I'm all like, there's going to be a point where they might consider, microdosing as a form of a PED, right? Because that's a performance enhancement in a small way.
It's too natural. It's too hard to test for.
Yeah. Okay. Because I was thinking, like, when you explained it, how it helps you, like, kind of like connect with your body. I'm like, wait a minute, man. That's almost an enhancement, but it is natural, right?
They could ban it, but
I mean, it's a performance enhancement mentally. Then.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's so it could fall in that category of a PED because it mentally opens your mind.
Yep.
Where PEDs strengthen you physically.
Yeah.
With the muscle.
There's like I said, like steroids are more for like a physical, but like this is a mental thing, and I'm a firm believer. Mental strength is always going to be bigger than physical strength, in my opinion.
There's a lot of things under USADA or under Carefree Sport or whatever it is. Yeah, drug-free sport that the UFC uses now.
Yeah, they're not under USADA anymore.
There's a lot of things that you can't take that's mental. I don't think you can take like the aniracetam type stuff, or you can't take Adderall.
Adderall is the one that.
There's a lot of things you can't take, and not just the physical. That they've always been very like, nope. There's a whole 1,000-piece laundry list of things. That's why I looked at the USADA webpage and put in LSD and mushrooms, and found out what I found out. But this whole thing is man's search for meaning. I squandered everything in my life. I had everything. I squandered every relationship, every business, a career as a world champion, superstar. I've fucked up everything. And I realized that like that wasn't my path. This is my path. This was all an example of what not to do. But also, this is my divine purpose. Like working with, the people that I work with, the mentor that I have from, SEAL Team 6. He was also he never lost one SEAL in 20 years of leadership in Team 6 specifically. Under his leadership. He was also the spiritual advisor for these people. And he's the reason why, hopefully I'll get to go meet the Pope next year, which is cool. Because I grew up Catholic, and it's just...
Have you been to the Vatican?
Oh, yeah.
It's nice, huh?
Yes. Last time I was there, I was in a hot one.
Don't tell me, dude.
I was partying. And it was not a good look.
I just went there earlier this year, dude. It's beautiful.
It's incredible.
It's beautiful. There.
And...
Damn.
To now, whatever I tell people, whatever form of God you have, find it. You should. Like, this is important in life, especially right now. We're in this spiritual war, of good and evil, and there's a Crusader cross in the back of my car. Like, I'm here to protect people and to be a good example and to show people that like you can have, even if you do fuck everything up, you can be a better person about it. Like the changes that I've made in my life are huge. They're immense, and maybe not everyone sees them, even though I'm celebrated for them. It's hard, of course, for people from my past to look at me like, how you're that different? My family finally sees it, which is cool. But like this man's search for meaning brought me from being, when I was working at Lifetime, I was physically healed, mentally healed, but I was spiritually bankrupt. And then I was like, oh, okay, well, let's go. I don't want to go back to Catholicism. Because like those guys touch kids or whatever, you realize that they all do. You realize that every religion, every person in power for some reason likes touching kids. The Clintons or the Obamas, or you've got the Muslims or the Jews, or dude, they all do it. Everybody, it's like what? It's not like,
but it's but that's crazy.
But, right? It's crazy. They all do it, and it's fucking disgusting. But like, I went and I studied everything. I studied paganism. And like Norse mythology, I studied, like Hinduism and Buddhism and Catholicism and other versions of Christianity, and a little bit of Judaism, and reading like that sort of stuff, and then looking into, what it takes to be a Muslim in their books, and all Rumi, like all the philosophies, Stoicism, Japanese philosophy, Shintoism. I like studying things.
I can tell, bro.
I was like,
okay.
It all just fell back because basically I found Jason Henderson, my mentor, and he was like, nah, fuck the rest of that stuff. You're with me. I was like, oh, okay. But because none of it really resonated with me. I take pieces from it onto my own self, of course. I find beauty in all of it, but like what resonates with me is going to mass every Sunday. You know what I mean? That's just for me. It's not for everybody else. I'm not asking people to convert or something. But it was just this exhaustive search for how to be a better person how to heal my brain, my spirit, my body, and then now I'm finally in a place where I can teach this stuff. I'm a sage. I'm the coach to these young kids who want to be world champions, and I tell them like, I'm going to build you physically and mentally, but I'm also going to build you spiritually.
Nice. This
is what it takes to be. If you watch a UFC, everybody thinks Jesus after.
Yeah.
Or Muhammad, one or the other. Either one, but the world.
They all have their God.
They all have their God, and it just it helps you. Just to be on the right path, to have a spiritual guide, because the rest of it all just falls into place, I guess.
Dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. You've like been opening my eyes in more ways than one. But it's crazy because we've had a few coaches, and I feel like I've heard other coaches mention the spiritual part too, and how important that is. And I feel like, me personally, I grew up Christian, so my dad's a pastor. Okay. So I grew up in that world, and it's just it's a nice fulfillment in there. I'm not big on the church per se. That's why I love that. That's for you, because I like me. Yeah. I just like the belief or the study and things. But I do believe that if you can mentally, physically, and spiritually, you can take over anything, man. I'm a firm believer in that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, I do Buddhism, and I'm a Catholic. I'm a devout Catholic, but I study Buddhism. My wife does too, and it's a spiritual thing, and it keeps you calm. It keeps you in line. You don't lose control. You don't lose your temper. And they talk about they talk about connecting, and stuff. So being a Catholic, you learn about Jesus and God and everything else. But being in Buddhism, they teach you the spiritual part of being able to, connect with people. So, and I find myself not blowing up a lot of times, when I get upset or someone does something, I'm still able to sit back and keep a calm mind and stuff. I can imagine what mushrooms would do to me.
I'll be connect. Like for someone that's never taken, you recommend. You said earlier, about maybe 250 milligrams.
For him, I would say 100. Started 100, 125, and then you can get into it and go meditate, do some breath work, and just like meditation on psychedelics is really incredible, really, really good. You can sit there for hours.
I think, Mike, you would be incredibly benefited if you did that, bro. I know you look at it, but I was like,
meditate. I don't say I meditate, but I do. I always sit down and kind of like get out of my mindset, and I try to get into a more relaxing mindset, and I think as you get older, it becomes more important that you're able to do that, and stuff. But I could imagine what it would do to me.
I think it would relax.
It'd be good for you. It'll.
You don't think I'm a relaxed person?
You are, but you get boiled up pretty easily, man. All I gotta do is stare at Kyle and be like, see, you get boiled up very easily. And that's the thing is that but you are a very happy person. You're a very calm demeanor, but you get boiled up very quick.
There are buttons on you that you can push. Now you know that. There are buttons, and sometimes some people know what buttons to push.
Yes.
Okay.
But that's why. But it's like, but no, you're a good human being. You are, and I feel like it's what I love is that this was literally Ian's life, and this was literally what Ian went through, and I like the whole turnaround, bro. Like literally, your story just fascinated the hell out of me. And like I said, I knew you as a fan of the sport. I didn't know what was going on much behind the scenes or anything like that. I was just like, but it's just crazy to know like all the troubles and everything the struggles, dude, everything you went through, and like to seeing where you're at right now. To me, it's just the come up is real, bro.
Thank you.
And the fact that like you are working so well for that, it's like, I'm excited to see where psychedelics is going to be 10, 15 years, not even, maybe even 5 years down the road.
5 years. I'm now an advocate for Ibogaine. I'm Americans for Ibogaine. I'm an advocate nationally, working with a bunch of state representatives, senators, governors, whatnot. Very powerful people. Some billionaires that like are funding the whole thing. But I'm a spokesman for psychedelics all over the planet. And I have to carry myself as a politician, as I have to be the face. I have to, act a very certain way to have these people even want to mess with me. Because if they see me doing wild things like I used to, they'd be like, "What?
Exactly.
You're fired. Like you're out of here.
Yeah.
We can't be associated.
No credibility.
Someone has to lead the way.
Yeah, somebody has to.
Yeah.
And I'm tired of living that life I used to live, being that person. I've changed so much. And I've legitimized myself, and now these sort of people ask me for favors, which is great.
Would you say this? Because I'm about to be a father soon, and I'm about to have a daughter. Would you say when your daughter went through what she went through, was that the turning point for you? With the arthritis, didn't she have?
My turning point was after that. I've had a lot of trauma.
Yeah.
My best friend died in my arms. My other best friend killed his wife and killed himself, and I was there. I was the first person on the scene. My coach kicked me out of the gym and killed himself a couple of days later.
Goodness.
I've been through a lot of stuff. So my trauma led me into addiction deep into my later in life. Because I didn't retire until after she was, I don't know how old she was, but yeah, she was like 5 or 6.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Damn, man.
And peptides have got me sober. If anyone is going through addiction issues, peptides will get you sober. You can do cocktails. You can hit me up on Instagram.
Oh, shit, dude.
Yeah.
Look at the camera. Let them know where to find you, man.
Ian McCall on Instagram. Slide in there. That's the best place. Athlete's Journey Home on Instagram. I don't really touch other social media. And if you're looking for peptides or information about them, or psychedelics, whatever it is, I can help you with that. Like I said, the addiction stuff, the depression, the anxiety. There's not just one tool that works. There's multiple tools to get people feeling better from a lot of different ailments. So, yeah, I'm here.
Well, Ian, thank you so much, man.
Yeah, thank you.
This was one of my favorite podcasts. I knew it was going to be. So,
Thank you so much.
YouTubers, comment, like, subscribe, share the video. Once again, I'm Coach Cisco.
Coach Michael.
Coach Kyle.
Oh, Ian McCall, and check out Athlete's Journey Home podcast on Spotify and YouTube.
There you go.
Thank you.
We'll catch you guys on the next episode.
Shoots.